setting Washington's agenda. The Morning Majority, 5 to 9 on 630 WMAL.
7:37 on WMAL. Trevor Matich is here, former Redskin, Comcast Sportsnet, ESPN. Redskins taking on the Indianapolis Colts tonight as the John Beck era, I guess, officially begins this evening. Just hit, there's a little button there that says pre-delay. You want to hit that one. See the top little white button there? Should be the second button to your left. You got it? Does it work?
You know what?
Follow instructions very well.
Buttons are very confusing to me. I prefer knobs.
Give him a playbook next time.
All right, sorry.
Like old school. The John Beck era begins tonight, or at least we get to see. Now, we talked about this a little last week, whether or not Rex Grossman was going to be the starter, was his job to win, whether there's an open competition. Jason Reed, our friend from the Washington Post, wrote a column this week where he said that he believes that John Beck is the guy, and it's his job. How do you see that? Is Jason Reed correct in that assessment?
Well, I think the impression I get is that they would like Beck to take over. And the impression I get is that Grossman would have to be clearly better than Beck in order to get the job. I think if they're close, it'll go to Beck.
And how has Beck looked in practice?
You know, he's looked ragged.
Yes.
You know, just like Grossman has looked ragged. They didn't have the OTAs, the off-season opportunities to get chemistry with their receivers. They missed thousands of throws that they're now having to make up in a real microwave style in practice in order to get up to that level of chemistry. And so, yeah, they looked kind of ragged. That's one of the reasons that I was so surprised that they looked so sharp in Grossman completing 73% of his passes. Sure, the defenses are very vanilla, but still there was good accuracy and good chemistry with those receivers from Grossman, so that amps up the pressure on Beck this week.
Quick follow-up on Beck. He is almost my age, and as we know, I am no spring chicken.
No, you're young.
Oh, please.
So, how much does the age matter?
You know what? Whatever you're doing, Mary Catherine, it's working.
Zest is
zestfully,
right.
Zestfully clean.
I think that's a good thing. The age, it doesn't matter right now. I don't think the team expects either one of these guys to be the quarterback for the next 8 or 10 years. I think what they're looking to do is build the core of the team, and the offensive line, the defensive line, the things that they've been doing for the last couple of years, in a plan that you can actually identify as a plan, which is really encouraging. Right. And I think what they're looking for out of the quarterbacks on the roster now is to give them a couple of really good years. Then if they go on beyond that, excellent. But if these quarterbacks can do their thing, then they can draft a quarterback and develop him as they go forward.
Well, at least we won't have Peyton Manning in the game because he's apparently off with some minor injury. Isn't that correct? He's not going to play?
Well, yeah, I would be surprised if he played. Yeah.
But besides the quarterback, who would you look at? Who are the people to watch in this game? Who are the people who have a chance to either really cement their position on the team or sort of on the bubble?
Well, I think you look at the people that will be returning punts and kickoffs. You look at Terrence Austin and people like that, because Brandon Banks, the diminutive itty-bitty, who shops at Baby Gap, Brandon Banks, he's that small. But he's super quick. He probably won't play because of a knee injury. And so right now there's an opportunity at that position. You're looking at the offensive line. Continue to see if they continue to improve. In the first half, when the starters played last week, the Redskins averaged over 4 yards a carry on the ground. That's good. But what's better is they had no penalties, no sacks, and then no turnovers. And a lot of that is the offensive line performing at a very precise level. Can they continue that? You want to look in the secondary. 3 of the 4 starting defensive backs will be out because of injury, which is a whole nother risk and a whole nother problem. But there will be young defensive backs like Brandon Thompson and Dejon Gomes, names you don't know, names you might never know, but keep an eye on whether or not they get torched in the secondary.
Are there any big names, veterans, who we may be surprised learned that they're going to be cut in the next couple of weeks?
Watch out for running back Ryan Terrain. He was a starter for much of last year when he was healthy. And he hasn't been healthy in this camp. He's had a hand issue. He probably won't play in this game against Indianapolis. And they brought in, via trade, Tim Hightower, who's looked terrific, a veteran. They've got a couple of strong rookies who are really competing well. And Terrain might be one of those big names or big-ish names that might struggle because of that.
What do you make of the new rule to push the kickoffs to 35 yards? It was funny. Joe Buck last night on the game that on Fox was doing said, "Oh wow, another exciting kickoff into the end of the end zone for the NFL."
I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it. Now, I understand the concept of protecting players. Head trauma is not good entertainment.
Right.
And the NFL is ultimately entertainment, right? But that play is awful. And plus, it opens the door to unintended consequences. Right now they're kicking him out of the end zone. But if I'm a special teams coach, I don't do that in the regular season unless I'm playing some superhero with a cape like Chicago's returner Devin Hester. I pop it up in the air. Hang time. Let my guys run down there, drop it on the 5-yard line, and now the collisions will be even worse. So it remains to be seen what happens when it's actually real games.
And if it gets cold, I mean, it's easy to kick the ball to the end of the end zone now in August, but when it's colder, you can't kick it as far. So there's the chance that we'll have more returns as well. Yeah. And I think guys are taking him out because they're trying to impress or show that they deserve to be on the team.
Well, sure, that's part of the problem here, that special teams coaches can't see who can cover kickoffs right now because nothing's happening. The Chicago Bears last week actually cheated.
Yes,
they actually flaunted the rule, and instead of kicking off at the 35, they moved it back to last year's 30, so they could see who could cover, and they got in trouble for that. They're on double secret probation now.
But what would stop them in the regular season from just taking an offsides penalty on purpose?
That would be a penalty.
Yeah, okay. That's what they want.
Well, but they might have to re-kick it and keep going back 5 yards until they kick from their own goal line. That wouldn't be a good thing for them. But I think one of the things that is important in this rule that is not being mentioned much is that the coverage team has to line up no more than 5 yards behind the ball. So they can't get that 10 or 15-yard run-up to get that full speed hitting the line when the ball's kicked. So that's one of the reasons they bring it out of the end zone from so deep now, because those coverage guys are 5 yards closer, but they don't have the big run-up.
I don't want to draw you into a political discussion.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't. No,
You're
I don't.
evil and awful.
No. But I want to ask you, as an athlete, if you're on a team and the other team starts, getting in your face for no apparent reason, if some member of the other team goes to your bench and starts yelling in the face of your coach, if they start kicking and all that kind of stuff, what would you do?
Are you referring to anything in particular?
Yeah, the Chinese situation, obviously.
With Georgetown University.
Yeah, you've only got two choices. That erupted into basically a brawl. And my understanding is those Chinese players were actually a military team.
It's a military basketball team, yeah.
So you've got trained killers who were taught to fight against college kids over here in a fight. And I don't know that that's much of a fair fight, but it was handled, I think, by Coach Thompson the way it had to be handled. Because at that point, you only have two choices. And I'm a player. I play pickup basketball all the time.